Five Films continues today and ta-da! Concludes. So far, every film I talked about this week is one that I first saw as a teenager or in my early 20s. Maybe those are just the prime ages for media to get under your skin. Every one of these films is also something that I first saw in a movie theater. Today, a shift. I was about 50 when I saw this one. I was alone, it was night, I was in an office building, and I watched it on a VCR. The film is Barton Fink by the Coen brothers, 1991. Hands down, this is the spookiest film experience of my life. Not spookiest film, spookiest experience. Barton Fink is not one of the Coen brothers' most popular films. In fact, it lost money on its first release. But of all their pictures, it's the one that smacked me the hardest, probably because of where I was at the time. So with this video, I'm going to start with the impact, then I'll talk about the film. Personal impact. It's 1993. I'm working for Apple. In those days, it was still called Apple Computer. In addition to my regular position, I would sometimes get special assignments, executive speeches, ghostwriting. And in this case, I had been asked to write a strategy white paper for the company. My major obstacle? I don't think Apple actually had a strategy at that time. But someone must have thought that if I just went around and interviewed enough executives and engineers and product managers, even marketing people, I might discover one. I never did. Apple at the time had a lot of projects, many of them brilliant, some of them floundering in the market, many of them never even getting to market, but I couldn't see how it all added up to a strategy. This was during the exile of Steve Jobs, when the company was a weird world of warring fiefdoms. I had no idea how to make sense of it. I was blocked, working late, very late, getting nowhere, except miserable. For a break, I took a walk. Blockbuster is still open. Yeah, you used to have to go someplace to rent a video. Barton Fink caught my eye. I rented it, headed back to the office, and slapped it into the VCR. So here's what I knew about the movie before I watched it. Picture won the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival, the Palme d'Or, unanimous pick, along with a second award to Joel Coen as Best Director, third award to Jon Turturro, Best Actor. And a bunch of film critics associations gave the Best Cinematography award to Roger Deakins. New York Times did a special feature on the sound design of the movie. Barton Fink had great reviews and some of my favorite character actors. Here's what I didn't know. The story is about a guy who's having trouble writing a script. Barton Fink is the great nightmare film about writer's block. And as I watched it alone in a room late at night, unable to write, I found myself watching a film about a guy alone in a room late at night, unable to write. Beyond spooky. Set in 1941, the title character Barton Fink is a hot new Broadway playwright, fancies himself an intellectual, pioneering a new kind of theater to give voice to the common man. But he forsakes the theater to go to Hollywood for a big paycheck. And when the studio chief asks him to write a shallow, sentimental script about a wrestler, he has no idea how to do that. The film is a hilarious send-up of the old-time studios, the old-time movie moguls and producers, also of the great novelists and intellectuals that Hollywood lured, seduced, overpaid, disrespected, burned out, and discarded. If you have any kind of love-hate relationship with Hollywood, this might be your movie. If you've ever been creeped out in a cheap hotel at night, this might be your movie. If you've ever felt completely out of place in a social or business situation, unsure how to behave, what to say, this might be your movie. If you've ever watched a YouTuber complaining about the pressure to pander for views by following shallow formulas, this might be your movie. And Charlie, if you've ever been put off by blustery, showy American patriotism, this might be your movie too. Also, if you love virtuoso filmmaking, this is definitely your movie. The film uses visual and sound design as well as any film you'll ever see, ever. Camera moves, set design, lighting, color, music, costume, all orchestrated expertly and mercilessly for one purpose: to suck you in and seal you inside the tortured mind of Barton Fink. The sound mix deserves a special note. It is so subtle and rich. Sounds you almost think you're hearing at night in a hotel, coming through the walls, from pipes, from air ducts, from bed springs, radios other people are listening to. You will find lots of louder sound mixes with more clattering explosions and engines, but I don't know if you'll ever find a sound mix that's better at becoming a character in the film. It's by Skip Lievse, who still does sound mixing for the Coen brothers. In fact, Lievse was nominated for an Oscar this year for his sound mixing on the most recent Coen brothers film, Inside Llewyn Davis. He lost. To himself. He was double nominated, took home the Oscar for sound mixing for his work on Gravity. Several times, Barton Fink tells us that his passion is the life of the mind. And as the film lurches from mildly to wildly surreal, you may find yourself asking, the life of whose mind, buddy? Coen brothers have a knack for being funny and creepy in the same movie. Nobody can touch them on that. They wrote a literate script layered with references, found a perfect cast: Jon Turturro, John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, Judy Davis, Tony Shalhoub, and John Mahoney, among others. They created great, if sometimes cartoony, roles for these actors, and the actors deliver. This may not be the most accessible and rollicking Coen Brothers film. For that, I'd probably go with Fargo, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, or The Big Lebowski. Barton Fink may leave you scratching your head about what you just saw. I don't care. Best is not the topic today. The topic is films significant to me, and because of what I was going through that night, Barton Fink was perfect. I have watched it a half dozen times since then, including this week. It will always be one of my favorites. I have taken an interest. So those are my first five. Duck Soup, Lawrence of Arabia, Yojimbo, Monterey Pop, and Barton Fink. Those are clickable if you missed any. And if you enjoy hearing me talk about films, let me know. I can probably round up another 5 or 50. I would love to hear what films are significant to you. I'm tagging all of you, but I'm going to name some names. Same names as yesterday, actually. Sammy Paul, Morgan Page, Paul Neefsey, Jason Beck, Brierly Bishop, and Barry Aldridge. Until next time, I'm Mickeleh. DVD extras. I have 2 extras for you. First, just a big thank you to Jon D Barker for tagging me on this. Here's his video. Best thing about doing this series is I went and rewatched all those films and a few others that are candidates for future series. And second, while we're on the topic of creative blockage, I would like to recommend a new video on that topic. It's from TimH. He wrote it with Sammy Paul, who was tagged here. Shot by Hayden Hillier-Smith, it features the popular British comedy team of Jack and Dean. Although in this case, the part of Dean is played by Jack and the part of Jack is played by Ben Cook. The trailer for Barton Fink is on YouTube. And if you missed any in this series, they're in this playlist. All of them. Bye now.